Laws are generally designed to safeguard public safety and security. A primary function of laws is to prevent harm to individuals and society. Laws often regulate activities that pose a risk of danger. These regulations aim to minimize potential hazards and ensure responsible conduct. However, some laws may lack a clear or logical purpose in contemporary society. The continued relevance of such laws can be questioned in light of modern needs. Many believe outdated laws are automatically removed as societies progress. However, this assumption is often incorrect in practice. Some laws remain in effect long after their relevance has diminished. This persistence is often due to inertia rather than logical justification. The script centers around actual laws that are still in effect today. These laws have a tangible impact on people's lives. However, these laws appear incongruous with contemporary society. This incongruity highlights a disconnect between legal codes and current societal norms. The focus is on laws that seem out of place in the modern world. The script aims to explore the implications of these outdated legal frameworks. Some laws may seem harmless or even absurd at first glance. This perceived harmlessness can be misleading. The superficial appearance does not negate the law's binding power. Violating even a seemingly harmless law can lead to tangible repercussions. Therefore, all laws, regardless of their apparent triviality, must be respected. This law operates within a developed nation's infrastructure. It is supported by modern courts and police forces. This contrasts with the expectation of such laws being exclusive to less advanced regions. The framework integrates with existing advanced systems. The law's origins trace back to a significantly different societal context. It likely possessed a rationale that aligned with the norms and values of its time. Societal progress has eroded the original justification for the law. This erosion suggests the law may no longer be relevant or effective. Society, technology, behavior, and culture have undergone significant transformations over time. Despite these advancements, the legal framework has remained relatively static. This discrepancy between societal evolution and legal stability creates a legal anomaly. The unchanged law may not adequately address contemporary issues and challenges. The law does not apply universally to all individuals or situations. Instead, it focuses on particular scenarios, locations, or actions. This selective application means certain people or activities are specifically affected. The targeting of specific situations can lead to a perception of arbitrariness. This perceived arbitrariness arises from the law's uneven impact across the population. Many individuals may unknowingly break the law. This is often not due to malicious intent. Instead, it happens because the prohibited action seems harmless. People may not realize they are violating a law. The perceived lack of harm contributes to the unintentional violation. Ignorance of the law does not excuse the violation, regardless of intent. Many legal violations lack a clear, identifiable victim. The absence of an immediate threat obscures the violation's significance. There is often no visible damage directly linked to the unlawful act. This lack of apparent harm makes it difficult to understand the law's purpose. The connection between the violation and its potential consequences is not always obvious. This can lead to a diminished perception of the violation's seriousness. Violating the law can result in legal consequences, regardless of apparent harm. These consequences may include financial penalties, such as fines. Warnings can be issued as a milder form of legal repercussion. In certain situations, formal charges may be filed against the offender. The severity of the consequence depends on the nature and context of the violation. Law enforcement often depends on reported violations rather than continuous monitoring. This means a violation must be observed and reported by an individual. The system relies on public awareness and willingness to report illegal activities. Without a complaint, violations may go unnoticed and unaddressed. Inconsistent application of the law means similar actions can have different legal consequences. This inconsistency arises when the law is not enforced uniformly across all cases. Individuals engaging in the same behavior may face disparate outcomes. This creates a situation where fairness and justice are compromised. Inconsistency in law enforcement can lead to confusion. This inconsistency prevents the establishment of order. People's behavior is altered by fear of random enforcement, not understanding. Therefore, inconsistent enforcement undermines the law's purpose. Outdated laws persist in various legal systems worldwide. The existence of these systems globally indicates a widespread issue. This prevalence points to systemic challenges in legal modernization. Many jurisdictions face difficulties in updating and reforming laws. These outdated laws can lead to inconsistencies and injustices. Efforts to repeal the law have faced quiet resistance. These attempts are often met with rejection or significant delays. This resistance is not necessarily due to strong support for the law itself. Instead, it stems from the substantial effort required to enact legislative changes. The perceived difficulty in amending or removing existing laws acts as a deterrent. Therefore, inertia contributes to the persistence of the law despite lacking active endorsement. Removing laws requires extensive debate and documentation. The process of repealing laws often attracts significant public attention. These factors can create inertia against changing existing laws. Lawmakers may avoid these challenges if a law doesn't provoke widespread discontent. This inertia can result in outdated or ineffective laws remaining in effect. The persistence of law is deeply rooted in human psychology. A key factor is the comfort individuals derive from maintaining existing systems. Established laws provide a sense of stability and predictability. Change can be perceived as disruptive and unsettling. People often resist alterations to familiar legal frameworks. This resistance stems from a psychological preference for the status quo. Individuals often exhibit a preference for maintaining existing systems. This preference persists even when systems are flawed or suboptimal. A reluctance to question or change established systems is common. This reluctance contributes to a state of legal or systemic inertia. The comfort of the familiar outweighs the potential benefits of change. Rules, once established, can gain legitimacy over time. This legitimacy arises simply from their prolonged existence and enforcement. The continued application of a rule, regardless of its current relevance, contributes to its perceived validity. Thus, longevity can be a significant factor in establishing the perceived legitimacy of a rule. Cultural values significantly influence societal preferences and norms. Some societies prioritize order and structure over adaptability and change. This preference manifests as a cultural emphasis on predictability and stability. Control is also a key cultural value in certain societies, taking precedence over individual comfort. Societies valuing control may implement stricter rules and regulations to maintain social order. Laws can function as symbols of authority beyond their practical application. These laws communicate a message about the extent of oversight and control. The symbolic function can overshadow the law's actual impact on justice. Even if a rule lacks logical justification, it can still reinforce the perception of being watched. This creates an environment where behavior is subtly influenced by the awareness of potential surveillance. The emphasis shifts from the fairness of the law to its role in maintaining social order through perceived authority. Modern societies often operate under the assumption of inherent logical structures. Legal frameworks are a cornerstone of these perceived logical systems. However, laws may not always reflect current societal needs or understanding. This discrepancy can lead to a realization that societal logic is not always absolute. The relevance of laws can diminish over time due to societal evolution. Therefore, continuous evaluation and updating of laws are essential for maintaining societal coherence. Laws and regulations are not static. They evolve over time. The impetus for legal updates often stems from societal pressure. Without active challenges or demands for change, outdated laws can persist. This persistence can occur even if the laws seem illogical or impractical. Public discourse and advocacy are crucial for prompting legal reform. Therefore, laws reflect the dynamic interplay between governance and societal will. Many laws are followed out of tradition rather than logical reasoning. These laws persist simply because they have always existed. The rationale behind such laws is often unclear or outdated. People adhere to them without questioning their relevance or purpose. Legality and reason are often conflated, leading to the assumption that legal actions are inherently reasonable. This conflation can create the false impression that what is permitted by law is also just or morally sound. However, legality merely indicates compliance with codified rules, not necessarily alignment with ethical principles. Reason, on the other hand, involves logical and ethical considerations beyond simple adherence to laws. Therefore, it is crucial to distinguish between the legality of an action and its inherent reasonableness or justness. Consider laws in your community that are widely accepted without scrutiny. Reflect on the potential reasons why these laws remain unchallenged. Examine the historical context and societal norms that may support these laws. Assess whether these unquestioned laws still serve their intended purpose effectively. Legal blindness refers to a state where laws may lose their logical coherence. This can occur gradually, making it difficult to notice the shift in legal reasoning. The loss of sensible laws can lead to a form of societal unawareness or blindness. It highlights the importance of critically evaluating and understanding the laws that govern society. Reality often presents scenarios that are more unexpected than fictional narratives. The rules governing everyday life can be surprisingly unconventional. These real-world rules may defy common expectations. Reality's inherent strangeness can surpass the imagination of fiction writers. The mundane aspects of life can hold unexpected complexities and oddities. Therefore, reality's bizarre nature often exceeds that of fictional constructs. The legal system is inherently complex due to the multitude of interconnected laws. These interconnections create a web of dependencies between different legal statutes. Removing a single law can therefore trigger unforeseen and undesirable effects. These unintended consequences arise from the disruption of the established legal balance. Public apathy can perpetuate the existence of outdated laws. A lack of perceived harm or inconvenience reduces the demand for change. Without public pressure, outdated laws are less likely to be challenged or updated. Active harm or inconvenience is a key motivator for demanding legal reform. Lobbying groups often advocate for specific legal outcomes that favor their interests. This advocacy can extend to supporting the continuation of existing laws. The primary motivation is typically to maintain benefits or advantages derived from those laws. Such laws may provide financial gains, market dominance, or other preferential treatment to the lobbying group's constituents. However, the retention of these laws can sometimes conflict with the broader public interest. This creates a potential scenario where private interests are prioritized over the common good through lobbying efforts. Politicians may avoid challenging existing laws due to political considerations. One concern is the risk of alienating specific voting blocs. Challenging laws might be perceived as a sign of weakness on law and order. This fear can deter politicians from initiating legal reforms. The perceived political cost often outweighs the potential benefits of change. Judicial interpretation significantly influences the relevance of laws. Judges' interpretations determine the practical application and impact of legal statutes. A narrow interpretation can effectively render a law obsolete or irrelevant. This occurs when the interpretation limits the law's scope or applicability. Conversely, A broad interpretation can sustain a law's relevance over time. This happens when the interpretation adapts the law to contemporary contexts or issues. The administrative burden refers to the workload and resources required to implement and enforce laws. High administrative burden can make law enforcement impractical, even if the law is still valid. This occurs when the cost and effort of enforcement outweigh the perceived benefits. Consequently, some laws may be rarely enforced due to these practical limitations. The result is a discrepancy between laws on the books and actual enforcement practices. Law enforcement agencies often face limitations in available resources. These limitations can impact their ability to fully enforce all laws. Resource allocation is often prioritized based on the perceived importance of different laws. Laws considered low priority may receive less attention and fewer resources. This can result in inconsistent or incomplete enforcement of certain regulations. Ultimately, resource constraints can affect the overall effectiveness of law enforcement efforts. Social norms represent unwritten rules that govern behavior within a society. These norms can exert a powerful influence on people's actions, sometimes more so than formal laws. Laws, while officially enacted, require a degree of public acceptance and adherence to be effective. When a law clashes significantly with prevailing social norms, it may face widespread disregard. This widespread disregard can render the law practically unenforceable, despite its legal status. Such a law becomes a dead letter, existing in statute, but not in practice, due to the strength of opposing social norms. Technological advancements can lead to the obsolescence of certain laws. Laws are rendered irrelevant by the introduction of new technologies. For example, laws regulating horse-drawn carriages are outdated. The rise of automobiles made these carriage-related laws obsolete. This illustrates how technology can outpace and invalidate existing legal frameworks. Economic shifts can alter the effectiveness of existing laws. Laws intended to safeguard specific industries may become detrimental in a global economy. Globalization can render protectionist laws counterproductive. Economic changes necessitate a review of legal frameworks to ensure continued relevance and efficacy. Heightened environmental concerns can drive changes in legal frameworks. These concerns may lead to the reevaluation and potential repeal of existing laws. Laws that inadvertently promote pollution are often targeted for revision. Similarly, laws that facilitate excessive resource depletion may face repeal. The goal is to align legal structures with environmental protection efforts. Repealing detrimental laws is a step towards sustainable practices and resource management. Human rights considerations often prompt a review of existing laws. This review aims to identify laws that discriminate against specific groups. It also targets laws that infringe upon fundamental freedoms. Such discriminatory or freedom-violating laws may be subject to repeal. The repeal ensures greater protection and promotion of human rights for all. International pressure can influence the repeal of outdated laws. This influence is especially potent when laws conflict with international treaties. It also applies when laws violate widely accepted international norms. Such pressure aims to align national laws with global standards and agreements. Legal reform movements actively promote changes within the legal system. These movements often advocate for the repeal of laws deemed outdated. Modernizing legal systems is a key objective of legal reform. The goal is to ensure laws are relevant and effective in contemporary society. Legal reform seeks to improve fairness, efficiency, and accessibility within the legal framework. Public awareness campaigns play a crucial role in societal progress. These campaigns are designed to inform the public about various issues. One key area is educating people about the existence of outdated laws. Many individuals may be unaware that certain laws are no longer relevant or effective. Awareness campaigns highlight the need for legal reform to address these issues. By raising awareness, These campaigns can drive public support for updating and improving laws. Grassroots activism serves as a mechanism for influencing legislative change. It exerts pressure on lawmakers through public mobilization and advocacy. This pressure can lead to the re-evaluation and repeal of outdated laws. Grassroots movements can advocate for the enactment of more just legislation. The goal is to promote equitable policies through citizen-driven action. Citizen initiatives empower voters to directly influence legislation. This process allows for the repeal of outdated laws. Citizen initiatives also enable the enactment of new laws. This direct involvement provides a mechanism for citizens to shape legal frameworks. Judicial review empowers courts to assess the constitutionality of laws. This process allows courts to invalidate laws deemed unconstitutional. Judicial review also applies to laws that infringe upon fundamental rights. If a law violates these rights, courts can strike it down. This ensures that legislation aligns with constitutional principles. Judicial review thus serves as a check on legislative power. Sunset clauses are provisions included in laws. These clauses stipulate an automatic repeal of the law after a specific time. The law remains valid for a defined duration. After this duration, the law is automatically terminated. The law can be renewed, but this requires explicit action. Without renewal, the law ceases to be effective. Periodic review of laws is a process of systematically examining existing legislation. This review aims to identify laws that have become outdated or ineffective over time. The process can lead to recommendations for repealing or amending such laws. Ultimately, periodic review ensures that the legal framework remains relevant and effective. Continuous improvement is essential for legal systems. It ensures laws remain relevant to societal needs. It enhances the effectiveness of legal frameworks. It promotes justice within the legal system. This ongoing process adapts laws to changing circumstances.